few days ago, I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted to see this video or that video, and you guys chose this one, so here it is. And if you don't want to miss out on the next time I ask you guys for input on a new video, make sure to follow me on Instagram because I'm always posting on my stories about stuff like that, and I would really love your input, as well as your follow on the gram. So today we're going to be talking about everything that I use to shoot video and shoot photography. So I'm going to do my best to show you guys what the actual item looks like, but also show you some things that I've created using the item. So yeah, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'll probably skip over some of like the little stuff because there's like a lot of little stuff. I'm just going to go for like the big stuff that makes the most impact on my work. I've been doing photography for just about 10 years. I think it'll be 10 years this April. Wow, that's crazy. Maybe I have a lot of stuff. Maybe I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't know. It probably depends on who you are. This is just what I have. I have everything that I need to create what I've been creating. So if you've ever wondered what I use to shoot anything, this is gonna be your guide. Also, I wanted to make this video so that in like future reference, if people ask me what I use, I can just be like, hey, check this video out. It's gonna tell you everything you're gonna wanna know. Let's begin. Is it sad that I had to like literally write everything down so I like remembered everything? All right, so the biggest thing that I use obviously is the camera. I use a 5D Mark IV. Yes, this is a pretty big investment, but honestly, going from the camera that I had before to this one was like night and day. It is definitely worth the money. It's worth like every penny, and I use it almost every single day. I use it to shoot every video of mine, every music video that I film, every photo shoot, every wedding, like everything that I shoot on this camera, and I love it so much. I use a Canon 5D Mark IV for shooting absolutely everything. One of my go-to lenses that I've had for probably almost the whole 10 years. This was my very first lens I ever bought, even on my entry-level DSLR, and it is the Canon EF 50mm f1.4. Stressing the 1.4 because that's what made me love this lens, and I use it for so many things. It's really, really great for portrait photography. It's what I'm using to film this talking portion right now in this video. I've used it to film so many different like cinematic video shots, and it's definitely probably my most used lens to date, but that might be because I've had it the longest. My second favorite lens for shooting portraits or like really cinematic type of stuff is the Canon 85mm f1.8. This one I got used from like a buy and sell website, but it still works perfectly fine. I haven't had any issues with it. I think I've had it for over a year now, and I'm absolutely obsessed. I love it. It's kind of hard to shoot with it indoors just because of like the focal range is like super close up if you're like shooting in a small area, but it is amazing for shooting portraits and video clips outside. And the only other lens that I have, I also got on a buy and sell website, and it is a Canon 24mm f2.8, which is really, really great for group shots. I use it so much in my YouTube videos because it's super wide, which is really, really great. It's great for filming like big areas. It's great for getting a ton of stuff in the shot, landscape stuff, like even kind of vlogging sometimes if I'm gonna use the 5D for vlogging. It's a perfect like everyday, like I'm just gonna slap this on and you're good to go. I use it a lot. It's really, really close up there to the amount of times that I've used the 50mm. I don't really use it for portraits that often just because I like to get a nice blur in the background, which this one you'll only get a nice blur if you're really, really close up. And then for recording audio, I kind of just have like the basic of the basic. It is a $40 mic I got off Amazon, and it is just a Takstar camera microphone. It kind of does the trick, you know, for what I'm doing. Like for filming videos in my room, it's like perfectly fine. You get what you pay for basically, but it works well for me. So something that I don't use super often, but is extremely handy to have, especially with the 5D where there's no built-in flash, I have a Canon Speedlight 430 EX2. This I got honestly probably like 8 or 9 years ago for my first DSLR, but it still works perfectly fine. I basically only use it for like some portraits, and then if I'm shooting events indoors, I use it a lot at weddings and stuff. Not that I've shot that many weddings, but you get the idea. It's really good for shooting like indoor like events when you really need like when things are dark and you don't have like proper lighting or anything like that. It's really good for stuff like that. Next, something that I use in probably almost all of my YouTube videos since I got them. I've had these for a hot minute as well, and they still work great. I have two Cowboy Studio Soft Box lights. There are a couple different variations of ones that you can get. These ones actually have 5 light bulbs in each of them, aside from the fact that I broke one light bulb a long time ago and never got a new one. But there's actually a light switch on the back with all that being said, I think that's going to be the end of today's video. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any requests for videos that you'd like to see, like photography wise, DIY wise, like lifestyle wise, like anything that you'd really like to see from me this year. Don't be afraid to let me know in the comments, because I like to hear from you guys. And so yeah, with all that being said, I will hopefully see you guys on Wednesday. If yeah, this whole 2 video a week thing isn't going super smooth so far, but I'm trying, okay? I'm trying. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!